Hello everyone and welcome back to Mossy Pine Ranch at Elmcreek. We have reached episode number 29 and are now in October. And because it's October, we are starting slightly later in the day. The daylight hours do change as we move through the months. So yeah, it's only really light enough to work sort of after 8:30 to 9 o'clock. But yeah, first things first today, we are off to the shop. We need to go and pick up a new cultivator. And that's because we've got a lot of cultivating to do before we plant. Last time we bought our new slurry spreader and spread digestate on our largest and our smallest field. And now we've got to do the cultivating. And then we are going to be planting grass. And yeah, we're going to try and get in the grass as soon as possible so it's got a bit of growth before the end of the year, and also so it is ready in early spring for us to mow and get the benefits of having all of our fields with grass in, so we can do a mega silage creation that will benefit the funds of the farm. And also, yeah, if it's ready in spring, it's then good for us to replant some of our next crops, which will be most likely sunflower for sunflower oil, and we'd also like to do some sorghum as well. So we've got feed for our horses and chickens for the next season and the next year. Yep, cultivating first, so let's get to the dealership and pick up our new cultivator. Right, here we are at the dealership, and you'll notice we've got the John Deere here as well, and that's because we've got a new bucket for a bit of stone picking in our field 1 and 2 combined together. So I'm just going to get this loaded on and ask a helper to run the tractor back to the farm. And we've got a stone picking bucket because there's a patch on field 2 and 3 which we're going to be turning into grass that's got some stones in, so yeah, I need to just pick them up for aesthetics, although we have got field stones turned off now. There we go, that's going to help us pick those up, and I'll quickly ask the helper to come and take it back. Right, off they go. See you back at the ranch. So let's go and get our new cultivator. Okay, so it's very hard to choose a new cultivator because I'd like to go as big as possible, but the big ones take so much horsepower it's really difficult. So the best one that I found that seems to be very cost effective as well is this Rostelmash KTP 9.4, and yeah, it's 9.4 meters, so a bit bigger than the other one that we've been using, this Lizard SXHV, which I think is yet 7.9, so only a bit of an increase, but nonetheless going to be good for us. And its main colour is a green, which is going to match our lovely Lizard tractor. So let's go ahead and buy this. There it is. So let's pop back in the Lizard and we can get hitched up. There we go. Hitched up. So let's do a dash back to the farm and we can get started with some cultivating. Seems to match the tractor quite nicely. Not the same green, but a faded, older green, which is nice. Bit of a wide load this, so I'm having to put the hazards on and keep far over on the right-hand side of the road. Right, so I'm just going to nip across here because I'm probably going to start by just doing some headlands. So let's just get unfolded so we can see the width we've got to work with. Ah yeah, that's quite nice. That's a good width, that. So we're just going to stop there. Can turn the beacon off. And yes, of course, we kept the previous cultivator. So the plan is I'm going to ask a helper to sort of work with me on this big field so we can get it done quicker. And yeah, the worker will use the case and the Lizard cultivator that we've got parked up in the shed over there. So let's go grab it. Right, we can drag this out, raise it up again because it's a bit too tall, and then probably need the weight, but then it seems to be doing okay, so maybe we'll cope without it. I'll just leave you there and go hop back in the Lizard. Excellent. So, plan is that I am going to lower this and we are going to cultivate this field. And I'm going to do the headlands, but not the full headland, just the top and the bottom, because we've got a nice straight edge on the other side. And I'm going to do the headlands. I'm then going to set the worker off to start doing the rows, and I'll start on the other side of the field, and we'll sort of meet in the middle, like Lady and the Tramp meets cultivating. So yeah, I'm just going to get these top and bottom headlands done, and then I'll set the worker going, and then we can be away together. So I'm going to see to that and catch you when we're done. Right, there we are. Finished all the cultivating, and looks like our helper missed a few spots. Just going to go see if he'll tidy them up for us. John, you missed a few spots. He's gone. He must have ran off. What cheeky so-and-so. Right, well, we better get the old tractor out the field, and then we can set it up for the next cultivating job that we've got to do. Probably going to focus on field 2 and 3, which will be the grass meadow nearest the animals. Yep, the case runs this cultivator nicely, and it's a nice matching red, which is good as well. And the Rostel Mash, the new Rostel Mash cultivator, matches the lizard tractor really nicely. So it's a good combo. They seem to work well hand in hand, so quite like that. Right, let me see about just tidying up these bits, thanks to our rather sloppy worker. Right, there we go, that's all tidied up, so we can get this folded. And the plates on the back quite nicely get folded up individually, so that's quite a nice feature of this Rostel Mash. Nice to have that all cultivated up. Oh look, he's even missed some spots down here as well. Crikey. Gonna have a word with that John when I see him next. Okay, just gonna park the lizard and the Rostel Mash here for now. And I'm gonna go jump in the case and the other cultivator just to get started on the other field. Here we are. So interestingly, we had weeds come up in these two fields, but we didn't have it in the large field which had oats in, field number 10. So yeah, it's a bit random as to how the weeds have come up, but nonetheless that's fine. So plan is now I'm going to cultivate the headland of this field, and then I'll leave the rest to a worker, and whilst we leave the rest to a worker, I'm then going to shoot off and go and grab some digestate that is at the BGA. So at the end of last session, I took the remaining grass that had processed into silage to the BGA. I did a full trailer's load, so there's about 15k left in the fermenting silo. Took that to the BGA. That all processed overnight, and that's given us 46,000 litres of digestate. So I'm going to go fetch that, and yeah, we can use that to digestate the field to the left of me, and yeah, that's going to mean we can then ready it up for planting grass as well. But first things first, let's get this field cultivated, the headland, and then I'll leave it to the worker, and I'll nip to the BGA in the meantime and go and get a fresh batch of digestate. Okay, so we're back from the BGA with digestate and unloading into the pit. It's all unloaded, so we can get this parked up just along here again. There we go, we can leave that there. So we've got some digestate now, so I can hop in the case which has just finished. The helper's finished using it to cultivate field number 2 and 3. So let's go take a look at that. Cool, yeah, you really finished, didn't you, mate? Great stuff. This is an oddly shaped field, so I guess I should have expected it, but let's quickly get this cultivated, shall we? There we go, that's all done now, and yeah, good that we can just tidy up the work of our helper, supposed helper. Sometimes I just think he can't be grasped. Right, let's position this in a good place for the next field, which is this one, that's going to need cultivating. But we are going to cultivate that after we've spread digestate, because I think that's the natural order of things. Don't want to be having fresh digestate on top as we are about to plant. So we'll drop that off there. Seems to be some great demand at the debris crusher. But yeah, we want to be heading over and grabbing our slurry spreader, fill it with digestate, and then we can get on with spreading this field. Here we are, the Zunhammer is parked up quite nicely in the vehicle shelter here. And it was a lovely piece of kit. Good price, good capacity. So yeah, pleased we bought it. $65,000 I think, so well worth it in my opinion. So let's head over to the digestate pit and fill her up. And she's full. So yeah, we've got a fair amount of digestate to work with, fair few litres in that pit, and then there's another pit also near the animals which has got some in, so I'm going to try and use that up if I can. Let's turn in and we can get switched on and started. There we go. Handy texture change, so we know where we've been. And then after we've spread all the digestate, we can come along and cultivate it. And then the final job of today is going to be planting our grass. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a long one today in terms of jobs. Lots to do, and this part of the season is crucial because we've got limited window before the winter kicks in, and it's going to be too hard to plant stuff. I think we've only got this month to plant our grass. I think November might be possible, but yeah, it's getting very close to being too late, and then it also cuts off some of the growth potential as well. And we want it to be nice and ready in early spring, so we have enough time to switch over the crop to, well, from grass to our sunflowers and sorghum. And then of course the field nearest the animals is going to be a permanent grass field, which is nice because it's an awkward field in terms of shape, so it means that we're not going to get any odd worker behaviour when we ask them to help out on that field. Clumsy John didn't do a great job of cultivating it, that's for sure. Let me get this all spread over with digestate, and then we can get on to cultivating and then finally planting. Okay, so I have done the digestate spreading, and I've done the headland plus a bit of the cultivating, and now I am going to run up and grab the John Deere, as I probably need to move the slurry spreader out of the way. The John Deere can't run the slurry spreader, but it might be able to just pull it home, and then we will get on to clearing some of the stones which have emerged. And yeah, we have field stone turned off, but we have some still lingering around from last time. Right, so we'll grab that. Looks like the worker straight away has missed a patch and now is going off in crazy directions. I don't know why they do that, because they can lift the cultivator and get in whatever position they so choose. Right, let's limp the Zunhammer back to the yard. Just drop it off there, and I'll go grab the weight so we can then go pick up some stones. Right, I've just tidied up that patch for the worker as well and set him off again. Let's grab the weight. Right, there's the weight. So let's go and grab some stones. So with this stone picker, I think it's as simple as just driving through and there we go, collecting stones. I don't know how much it's going to fill, but yeah, we want to be clearing these as they don't look the tidiest, and I'm not sure even with field stone turned off whether they damage the equipment. Right, there we go, that patch is all clear now, and we've got a few stones in there. Quite a handy piece of kit. Obviously it grates through the dirt and stones, big stones stay in there and the dirt just passes through. Yeah, I think there's a few bits in this field as well, so let's go grab that. There we go, picking up the stones. And we don't plan to do anything with these stones, I'll just tip them somewhere and we can maybe use it towards gravel. A little bit there. And a little bit there. Right, I think that's all the bits of stone that I saw, so we'll go dump this and we'll keep the bucket. It was only around $800, so handy thing to keep on the ranch for if we've got any stones to clear. Yeah, and I think we'll just keep a handy little stone pile here, and we can take from that to top up a few bits of gravel where there's potholes. Right, so we can drop the rear weight back off, and also the stone bucket. Phew, finally. So, I think we can now concentrate on our planting. All 3 fields are prepped, cultivated. Well, this one nearly is. And yeah, put the worker going up and down that way, so there was more chance of them completing it with nothing left over. We know how sloppy John is with his workmanship. But there's a tiny slither there, but that's a bit negligible, so we won't worry too much about that. So I'm going to hop in the lizard tractor. Going to tackle the big field first with planting the grass. Then I'll do the smallest field, field 2 and 3, and then that should leave enough time for John to finish his work here with cultivating. So yeah, the plan is to try and get all 3 fields planted, and that was the reason why I didn't use the rostel mash and the lizard to do the other cultivating work. The rostel mash needs around 300 horsepower to run it, so yeah, couldn't be pulled by the case. But yeah, the cultivator is fantastic, so we will most certainly be using it again next time it's needed. Right, it's a tad too big for the other vehicle shelter, so I've just had to stick it in there. Might have to find a better place for it later. But let's just back up and get hitched up to our planter. There we go. And you'll notice that it is full of seed. I did test our new seed dispensing shed that's there, the red and white one, and yeah, it fills up quite nicely. The previous one I used didn't seem to like filling this planter for some reason. Okay, so we should be ready to rock and roll. Let's drag the planter out. Excellent. So I'm going to start over here, and actually before we do, I think now is a good time for us to switch to double tyres on this lizard. And that's going to help with the traction, and also it's going to help with spreading out the weight of the tractor. It's a heavy one, and yeah, having the wider dual tyres does spread the weight out, so it doesn't damage where we've just planted if we need to drive over it. There we go, we're going to go with Twin Wheels 5, which is $2,400, so let's customise that. Oh, very cool that, and yeah. I think that looks to be the spec that the sort of tractor is pictured with, sort of meant to come with dual tyres, and there's lots of different variations. You can get like smaller twin tyres. Right, hitched back up, we can get the planter unfolded. Now I do have to manually shift through the gears to just help it along a little bit, so it can get rolling. It is heavy, so yeah, understandable. We were going to start off in this direction, as this is a bit of an awkward part of the field. Here we go. So let's switch on, lower away. There we go, we are planting our grass, and the tractor is away. Try not to get too much of the edge there where we're not really planting anything. But look at that, we are away, and for the first time planting with our new lizard tractor, and the greens just seem to go so well together. The green of the lizard tractor and the green of the Great Plains planter. Fantastic. So we've got a lot of planting to do. I'm going to get on with all 3 fields. Hopefully it won't take me too long because we've got a nice width with this planter. But it is grass, grass, grass. So leave it with me and I'll see you when we are done. Sigh of relief. That is the grass planting all done. So we can fold up the Great Plains. That's done a great job. It is large. It is a bit cumbersome to manage to handle, especially with the articulating lizard tractor. Sometimes lining it up can be a little bit tricky. And then yes, the lizard always has a bit of a slow start and needs a bit of a nudging to get up in the gears. But yeah, grass planted in all 3 of our major fields. And that is in addition to our existing field number 1, grass meadow, which is to the right of me here. And that has had grass in it since we expanded it and yeah, put grass in it for the first time. And now our other fields have grass in as well. But that is just a temporary thing. We're going to plant the grass, grow a bit of it over winter and into the early spring. We'll then harvest it and then yeah, use it for silage operations. We'll also probably make some hay out of some of it. And then, yeah, it'll be the right time in spring for us to plant our next crop. So there'll be a quick changeover period in spring where we'll need to cultivate and plant again. But luckily when we mow grass, it does add the primary level of fertiliser, so we won't have to worry about digestate spreading. But that is it for today. We have bought a new Rostal Mash cultivator, and we got all of our 3 fields cultivated. The big one we did with the aid of our helper, and helper's a bit of a strong word. I'd say he's more of a bit of a lackluster farmhand. Call him John. And yeah, he did miss quite a lot of patches. But here we go. We can detach the planter, park it up, and switch off the lizard, which has worked hard today. I will give these a bit of a wash and a service off screen, but yeah, nice to put the handbrake on at the end of the day. I didn't park the planter back here because this bit is a little bit too tight, so I think I might move the Lizard Trans 70 into that section. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed watching. If you have, please remember to like, and if you've got any tips, tricks, or things you'd like me to do, then feel free to leave a comment. But all that's left to say is, hope to see you again next time, and until then, I will catch you later. Cheers all. Bye bye.